Hi folks, and welcome to my top 200 games of all time, or actually for 2021. We're going to go through numbers 120 through 111, and we're going to start with one of those new games I got to my list. This is another one that came new to the list, or earlier this year. This is Asara. Asara is a tower building game. It's, in a way, worker placement. You're placing cards along the edges and trying to grab pieces or grab extra moves or grab extra money or whatever, and you're trying to build the tallest tower or the most towers or different color towers just to get different in-game points. This is almost a gateway game, kind of a next step game. I've been eyeing this one on and off for a couple of years because when Board Game Geek suggests games from games I already have in my collection, I saw this was a common denominator. It kept suggesting this game. So I checked it out. I was like, maybe. And for the past 2 years, I've been doing that. Maybe. But then I found it really cheap on an auction. I got it and it came in. It's wonderful. I love it. Played it a lot early this year. Have not played it. No, that's a lie. I played it this summer too. And I really liked it. But another game I want to play again because I think it has a chance to move up even higher on this list. This game is very intriguing to me because it's very colorful. It's easy to understand. Lots of strategy, what cards you have, how you utilize those cards, and then no strategy is wrong. Now, I think white towers cost the most, so if you're just trying to get a white tower with all the little emblems on it to score big points, that's great, but it's going to take you a very long time because those can be expensive. Where if you're going for the easier ones, you're getting the easier towers to build up. They may be easier to build, but they're going to give you small points in the game. And you can go middle of the road too and build some of the medium ones and so on and so forth. And then the in-game points, it's so crazy you don't really know, even looking around the other boards, like, okay, do they have the biggest, tallest red and green? Oh, what do they have? They have the most towers. Oh my gosh. Oh, he has the tallest tower, because all those are translate to victory points at the end of the game. So really, it's a free-for-all at the end to see who wins. I love this game. I think it's awesome. Asara, my number 120. My number 119 has been in my collection for 4 years now, and it is Toledo by Mayfair Games. I believe it's Mayfair Games. You are building or gathering steel, gathering jewels, and forging your sword for the king. You may be even testing out those sword skills or to improve your skills if you have to battle for a space with another opponent. And you're trying to present 3 swords to the king, or actually just bring 3 pawns to the king to end the game. And then whoever has the most points wins. Very simple game, kind of a gateway game, but that's right up my alley. I love these type of games. There's a lot of strategy on putting your workshops out, but then eventually you have to get going. I think the last 2 people who've won this did not get all their workshops out. I am under the false impression that you have to get as many workshops out as you can, and that has screwed me every time in this game because someone eventually just stops placing workshops. They're like, you know what, Matt, you can have all the workshops. I'm going to go ahead and start forging swords. And when someone makes that first move, everybody better be moving. And that's been my mistake. I'm like, there's more places to go for workshops. I can get some money. Yeah, but the little money ain't going to help me in the long run when people are making swords and getting the head start on me. So, and it's not all about making the biggest sword, even though someone always does. That person doesn't always win, I'll mention. I remember the one time I did win, someone spent all their time making the big sword. I'd already delivered 2 small swords, and so while he was getting his next sword done, I was getting a medium sword done. I delivered it to the king right before he got there and won the game with my 2 small swords and 1 medium sword to beat his big, super expensive sword. It's such a unique game theme about making swords for the king, but I love it. Also, increasing your dueling ability is very important because you will eventually be fighting for spaces from other players, and you want that edge, that advantage that fighting or improving your skills makes. Also, how you play your cards is very important too, because if you play in the same number again and again, you can do multiple turns. And if you space out your workshops really well, those multiple turns can always make you keep your cards and really build I built a sword super quick one time on 1 turn. I think I was able to play the same number and always land on my workshop where I kept building my sword and everything, had it ready and delivered it straight to the king on the next 2 turns after that. It was awesome. And you can save up your cards. You can hog as many cards as you want, but then again, You don't want to spend too much time gathering cards for that one big play, because by the time you've made that one big play, people have made like 17 little plays. and you're playing catch-up at that point. I love how this game balances out. It's awesome. It started off on my list at number 81, which sadly is the highest it's ever gone. It's moved down every year. It went down to 99, 124 last year, but this year, it moved up 5 spots. So I guess I got it right. I don't know if it'll ever get my top 100, but that it sits right outside the top 100 is fine by me. Number 118 is an interesting game to me. It's Navigator, and this is one that a lot of people like. I mean, I got this one right with a bunch of other people. There's a bunch of people who love this game. I do too. It has a rondelle, which I love rondelles. It has multiple ways to win, although the game always ends with people sailing to the end every time. No one thinks about working the market, buying buildings, or establishing colonies and manufacturing those prices to those houses or the sugar refineries and stuff like that for all the raw goods you're getting. People just go for the exploration bonuses and just end it because it's fast, easy points. But they accelerate the end of the game and they never win. And I tell people that. I say, now this is where you can get some fast points, but that's not all. You need to go get some settlements. You need to go do this. You need to go do that. And they're like, okay. And then when they make those fast points for navigating, they go, So then they try to get all those points, and then they end the game prematurely, and I win every time. I do have the little extra mini expansions that go with this, and we always play with them, and they are used quite often in the game. This game is wonderful, and of course, like I said, this is one game that I do hear other gamers talk about, so it's one thing we have in common. We both have the same taste, great taste when it comes to Navigator. This has only been in my top 100 once, and that was the first time I got it. It was number 74. After that, it has been struggling in the on this list to get back in. It was 119 the next year. Then it went up to 103, just outside of my top 100. And then this year it drops another 15 spots back to 118. I don't know why, but it's always one of the games that I have when I'm rounding up my top 100. It's in that stack, but it's not it's not getting down to the nitty gritty. I'm going, okay, well, you'll definitely be, in that top 120 for sure. And it always has been. It's a fun game. I don't know if they'll ever make it back up there again, but it's funny that I always win. I always win because people go with that same stupid strategy, and and it never works. And like the same people will play the game and do the same thing again, and then they'll just sit there and wonder like, oh, you got more points than me. Yeah. Doofus. Anyway, number 117 is in its sophomore season on my list here, and it is a great game, Tumble and Dice. Oh my goodness. I know this game costs a lot. Save your money, get a copy. It's really worth it. Flick and die down these little steps. It's just, just fun, easy, light game. But we played this game. We have played it a lot the first year I got it, and we played even more, or maybe just as much this year. Flick and dice. Flick and dice, and if they go down to that third, there's triple the amount of whatever the die is on. So if you can get a 6 on that edge, you're doing really good. But this is a game you can play over and over and over again. You'll play like 10, 15 games and still not be tired of it. I've gotten my money's worth out of it. Of course, I got it on an amazing sale. Everything was 30% off, and then this game got an additional 20%. I don't know, it was like 50% off or something. I got off the game for Black Friday, and it was well worth it. Well worth it to get Tumbling Dice. So very, very fun game. It started off on my list at 104, and of course, the newness kind of wore down. It's just a fun dice flicking game, so it moved down 13 spots here. This game is so popular that my nephew in his wood shop class at high school, he made a copy of Tumbling Dice. And supposedly everyone plays it with him too. So excellent game. Tumble and Dice, my number 117. Number 116 has been in my collection for 4 years. And that's in my collection is very rare because this is a card game. I don't like card games generally, but Hollywood is excellent. In Hollywood, you are trying to grab a script, a director, and 2 actors or 2 actresses, or preferably an actor and an actress for bonus points, and then make the best movie you can with the most amount of points. Now, there are some green cards, which are basically crew cards, which can add to the movie's value, so you want to play those too, and try to get as many points as you can. Now, there are some cards that have little Academy Awards on them, and those are for the end of the round. Whoever has the most Academy Awards gets a statue an Academy Award statue or whatever, an Oscar, let's say. And at the end of the game, those can translate into some bonus points too for the win. Woo! This is great. I got the Kickstarter edition of this game with the extra pack of cards. I don't think this game is in print anymore. It's sad because it is very thematic and it is so much fun. The game plays really quick too. Very quick. But it is very rare for me to have a card game in my collection, much less this high. Because generally speaking, card games aren't my thing. And I do have a lot more on this list that go even higher. Even some in the top 100, shockingly enough. But so maybe I am liking card games. I don't know. But Hollywood is great. It started off on my list at number 73. And then that was the last time in its top 100. It spent time outside the top 100 lately. It was 117, then 126. Now it's back up to almost where it was in my second year. It's at 116. So, you know, it kind of always bounces around this area. And that's great for a card game because most card games, nope, won't even add them to my collection. Number 115. Welcome back, Queen Games. Neptune. Holy cow. You are bidding. You're bidding or kind of randomly selecting cards. It's almost like you can pick what's behind door number 1 or flip over door number 2. But then you can't, once you make a decision, once you pass one up, you can't go back and get it. So it's always a little challenge of when you want to stop and grab that set of cards. After that, the next player goes and they have a decision between 1, 2, and maybe open door number 3 to see what's there. And you're grabbing different resources, different sailing cards, and then of course destinations. And you're trying to, and when you take this card, you're going to establish it upon your route of I think 5 different places you got to go. And once you put it in, like this will be my number 3 spot, it's locked in at the 3 spot. You can't change that. And oh man, there's so many good things about this game. Again, you have to have the Queenies. If you do not have the Queenies, don't bother getting the game. The Queenies make you, even though I don't think it's worth the victory points that they give you for this, but it kind of forces you to get different type of goods or to sail to different places. And on the base game, when we didn't play it, everyone wanted to sail because if you finish your trip first, you get 2 extra points, and everyone wants those 2 points. Only one person's getting them because usually only one person will finish there because it's the first person to finish that round. If no one else finishes that round, you know, then the round ends and that person gets those points. So you're always trying to find, if you don't play with the Queenies, you're just trying to find lands that are right next to you. You know, back-to-back areas. Good, I don't have to move that round, so I can score once, twice, and I can get those bonus points too. Woohoo! Yeah, that's good, but if you play with the Queenies, every bonus point revolves around variety. You have to go to different areas on the board, and that can net you some decent victory points at the end of the game if you get to go to every place, which I never have. It's completing a mural too, and that's really smart because you want to complete the mural, right? You want to get all those pieces so you can have a complete mural. Our need for completion, you know, so everyone's looking for areas they haven't been to before, and they don't care what type of points they get. They just want to complete that mural. I love that. Now there are other things too. You start looking at the goods instead of the routes. You're like, ooh, if I get one more of these goods, then I'll get some big, and you can get some big bonus points there too. So there are some ways to get some big bonus points in the Queenies, but that is where it's at. Get it with the Queenies. It's an excellent game. Now, this game blew me away when it came on my list. I tried to not be Cult of the Noob, but I was. I put it at number 76. So this year, and it gets its annual, you know, it seems like very common sophomore slump, down 37 spots to 115. Doesn't mean it's a bad game, just means the newness is off, and I haven't played this as much as I did the year before, but I still play it a lot. I still love it. Neptune, my number 115. My number 114 is a game about tea. It's been in my collection for 3 years, and it is Ceylon, or Ceylon. Woo, fun game. This is a game where you have a card, you place it on the board, and the direction of where you place it, you're going to take the top action of the card. Every other player gets to take the bottom action. Or if they don't want to take that bottom action, they can always take the middle action, which is something that everyone wants, like coin or something. And you are trying to move around the board, plant your tea crop, get in good with the governors of each one of those sections. Of course, harvest your tea and sell your tea on the tea train for victory points. And it's a beautiful looking game. You're also trying to go up the tech tree as well, because it can break ties and give you some victory points into the game. Everything about this is just wonderful. It flows fine. I love tea. In fact, I have some tea right here that I've been drinking in between takes. Tea is my thing, and I love tea-themed games. And Ceylon, like I said, it's been in my collection for 3 years now. When this first came out, blew me away. Kind of cold to the new, put it at number 44, and then last year it went down to 137. Well, this year it's jumped up 25 spots. Like, what was I thinking last year? I love this game. It doesn't get played as much as it did that first year, but still, whenever we bring it out, the people who see it go, oh, you almost feel the peace. It's a vibrant colors, but not bright colors, if that makes sense. And the game just feels like you're opening a box of serenity. Anyway, Ceylon, my number 114. Let's talk about a Queen game, because it's been a minute since I've talked about Queen games. This is Bastille. This is worker placement. You're placing shields of a different power, strength, either 1 through 4, or 5 if you have the Queenie. Hint, hint, always play with the Queenies. And in Bastille, you're moving around, getting points, getting revolutionaries, arming those revolutionaries for the upcoming revolution. And it's a lot of fun. I play Les Mis every time we put this game on the table, and I'm not kidding, I do. We have a lot of fun with it. Of course, you can upgrade your shields. It is a very tight worker placement board. There's also a Bastille track that can give you extra victory points, and every round you're scoring different ways by pulling cubes out of a bag, which you are trying to put cubes in that bag throughout the round as well. And there is no wasted action on the board here. Everything is with a purpose. Like I tried to upgrade all my shields at first, and I feel way behind. And I do know I lost at the very end. And I probably shouldn't have upgraded all my shields at the very beginning, but I caught back up in a massive way. Just because I had all the biggest powerful shields, and everyone else was still dealing with mediocre shield strengths. The game comes in if you place first, you will get to go first in that area. And whoever gets to pick first has more power than whoever gets to pick second and third or whatnot. However, if you place first and then someone else later on, because you don't take the action until the end, until everyone's placed out their shields. If someone has placed a shield that's of higher value than yours, then they will go first and you'll go second. Going first matters a little bit here in the game. Everyone tries to fight for that first player thing, and money can be tied if you spend it rather foolishly at the beginning of the round. But this game is another game by Queen Games I got for a steal on an Amazon, clearance sale, and then went on Queen Games site and got the Queenies. They came in, I started playing with them, and yeah, I don't play without the Queenies anymore. The Queenies make this game even better. This game hasn't really moved much up my list. It debuted at 116, so it moves up 3 spots here to 113, basically still where it was. So it's still a great game, not quite top 100 material, but close. My number 112 is a game that's been in my collection for 3 years, another card game, and I cannot believe I love this game. It is Challenge of the Super Friends. I've told this story a million times that I got it just to get free shipping on a miniature market order, because I was like, what costs $10? And they had that game for $10. I was like, I hate card games. I think this is a cash grab. I'll probably end up throwing this away, but let's go ahead and get it because I love the cartoon when I was a kid. This year, I actually went back and watched the entire cartoon, so I haven't played it since, but I want to play it again. And I do have another buddy of mine. He doesn't play board games, but he would definitely play the card game with me, he said. I just need to find someone else to play with me as well. This is a really fun game. Even if you don't remember this old cartoon from the 70s, you should get this game and check it out. It is really neat. The way you play you're playing cards to capture the highest villain that's on the table that round. Of course, a lot of cards are negative, and you don't want negative cards. They're different. Every card in your hand can do something different, and depending if you're Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Superman, or Batman and Robin, you also have special abilities, special cards that no one else has, which make a difference. Kind of wish they do an expansion to this, but I mean, what would you do? I mean, there's other, I don't know. I guess they couldn't. Maybe the Marv and Wendy expansion. They weren't included in the base game. I'd love to see them as a promo card. They're never going to do it. But this is, don't underestimate this game. It's great. In my collection, it's kind of bounced up and down outside the top 100. It was number 123 when I first got it. Moved up to 107 last year. Moved down 5 spots, mainly because of new games coming into my collection. And I don't think it'll, like I said, I say this every year, I don't think it'll make it in my top 100 ever, just because it's hard to get out. Because a lot of people don't get the cartoon, and they understand the superheroes. And like sometimes I bring it out, they go, why are they drawn funny? And I was like, well, this is from an old cartoon. You know, I kind of feel, I shouldn't feel embarrassed because people know the characters, and as long as I just say it's from an old cartoon, if it's fun, that's what matters. So maybe I should try bringing it out more, but it is a great game. Challenge of the Super Friends, my 112. And finally, number 111, it was 112 last year on my list when it debuted, and only moved up 1 spot. It is Lords of Waterdeep. I love worker placement, and everyone told me, if you love worker placement, you need to get this game. I was like, nah, it's probably not that good. And finally, for my birthday last year, had a bunch of Amazon gift cards. I bought the game and the expansion for free, and wow, they weren't kidding. Such a fun game. Such a fun game. I played it again this year. I played it a couple times this year. Still enjoy it. I think it's great. I lost. I lose more than win at this game, but you talk about, you know, entry-level, basic gateway game. Yeah, Lords of Waterdeep is a good one because you're collecting basically cubes to complete a quest to get victory points, but you're also buying shops that can do superpower points. And if it's your shop, you can get little rewards for other people going to visit it. And if you have the the Skullport, I can't remember what it's called, Scoundrel of Skullport expansion, which you should. It gives you very powerful actions with a penalty, but you can't help but take some of those actions because they're so stinking powerful and good, and you need that edge to get ahead. And maybe the victory points will outweigh the penalty later on the end. You'll have to see. Either way, it's a phenomenal game, and it's still in my collection, sitting on the outside of the top 100 at 111. All right, folks, that's it for now. But hey, come back and see what 10 games fell short, just shy of getting in my top 100. See you later.